Well, hello there, math aces, and welcome to Mr. Ace Math. In this video, we're going to write the ratio of total shapes below to the number of circles in that group. We're going to write it in 3 different ways, and we're going to make sure that we put it in simplest form. But before we even begin, what are the 3 ways to write ratios? Well, the first way to write ratios is using the word to. The second way is using a colon. And the third way is using fraction notation. Now that we know the 3 ways, let's figure out what the values are in our ratio. This word to is an incredibly important word when you're dealing with ratios, because that word to separates the 2 things that you compare in ratios. The first thing we're talking about here is the total number of shapes. And the second thing we're talking about is the number of circles in that group. And just so you know, the math word for that is called a term. So the first term in our ratio is the total number of shapes, and the second term in our ratio is the number of circles. That being said, how many shapes do we have here? Well, let's count them. So in this group of shapes, we have 11 total shapes. So let's put an 11 right here. Now, how many circles do we have? Well, let's count that. Well, that's not a circle, so that doesn't count. Again, not a circle. Here's circle number 1. Here's circle number 2. Not a circle, not a circle, not a circle, not a circle, and circle number 3. Do we have any more? Nope and nope. Okay, so we've got 3 circles in our ratio. Now let's get to writing our ratio the first way, using the word to. Remember that a ratio is a comparison of 2 things. We'll write the number for the first thing, which is our first term, then the word to, and then our second term. The first value we have is telling us the total number of shapes. That's the number 11, so I'll write that number first. Then I'll write the word to. And then finally, I'll write the value for the second term in our ratio, which tells us the number of circles. And that's the number 3. So after the word to, we'll write in the number 3. So again, this first value 11 tells us the number of total shapes. Then we write the word to, and then the second value, which tells us the number of circles. Remember that the order is incredibly important too. Since it's talking about the total shapes first, that value has to go first in our ratio. And since it's talking about circles second in our ratio, that has to be the second number in our ratio. They also want our ratio in simplest form. But we're lucky here, because there's no number that can divide both 11 and 3 to reduce it. So now that we're done here, let's go to the second way to write ratios, which is using a colon. In case you don't know, a colon is just these 2 little dots here, written like that. So the first thing we'll do is write the first value in our ratio. That's still 11. So we've got 11, and then we'll write a colon, and then we'll write the second value in our ratio, which is 3. Here's an important reminder. Even though you write it with a colon, you would still read it using the word to. So even though we do have written here 11:3, when we read this ratio, we would read it as 11:3. And finally, we'll represent this ratio using the fraction form. The first number is going to be the top of our fraction. So we'll write 11 on top, and then we'll write our fraction line, and then we'll write the bottom value, which is the second term in our ratio. That's the number of circles, which is the number 3. So we've got 11/3. Now, even though it literally says here 11/3, it's the same exact thing as with colons. Even though you write it like this, you would read it using the word to. So we would write 11/3, but we would read it as 11:3. Well, Math Aces, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Questions? Comments? Leave them down below.
And thanks for using Mr. Ace Math. Don't just pass math, ace it.